Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
It's midday, good afternoon, and thanks for making time for the news on 3FM 92.7. The news is coming to you live from our studios at Adessa Wikanda in Accra. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. The headlines this afternoon: Supreme Court defers ruling on injunction application to restrain Parliament from transmitting anti-LGBT bill until substantive case is heard and determined. Also, family of final year students of Ghana National College in Cape Coast demand justice for the loss of their son, Theophilus Ansa, who passed away after days of battling severe malaria. Plus, ruling New Patriotic Party flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bamia appeals to Ghanaians to choose between a president who can do 8 years and one that can do only 4. Details of these and more coming up shortly. My name is Judith Brown. We start with health now, and it appears the dengue fever outbreak is not slowing down anytime soon, following latest confirmation by the Ghana Health Service that the case count has increased to 36. And the cases, according to the service, cuts across the eastern and central regions. The disease, which originally started as prolonged malaria, was confirmed by the Noguchi Research Center last week, with the number of samples increasing. The Ghana Health Service, in its latest update, is admonishing residents along the affected catchment areas to take some remedial measures to prevent contracting the fever. Now, in case you have forgotten, let's take you through the dengue fever precautions. Firstly, wear protective clothing, use mosquito repellents, water containers around the home should be tightly covered. Also, discard water in containers not in use, empty water receptacles to prevent mosquito breeding, sleep in insecticide-treated nets, and do not self-medicate. Report to the nearest facility when you have high-grade fever. Well, let's speak to Yvonne Nikwe, our Eastern Regional correspondent, who has been monitoring this particular situation and how it's affecting the daily lives of ordinary citizens and farmers who are now moving away from their farms due to the fear of contracting the fever. Good afternoon, Yvonne. First of all, how is the condition of the many residents in the region who have already contracted this fever?
Good afternoon. Now, for the residents who had contracted the fever as a result of being bitten by the mosquito, quite a number of them are recovering, especially when the Ghana Health Service has been able to have the diagnosis correct. What unfortunately is happening is that because many of them are farmers from a larger population, we're seeing many of them not being able to return to their farms because they would have to stay in their homes to recover from the situation.
Now, how is this affecting the livelihoods of the indigents and also economic activities in the area?
Well, the mainstay of the people along the 5 districts is agriculture, farmers who produce lots more of cocoa, maize, and the other crops you can think of. They cannot stay in their farms for more than 30 minutes because of the invasion of the insects. And so they'll have to leave their farms quickly. A number of them who have already contracted, they cannot go to their farms again because they fear of what is happening. Unfortunately, the insect is increasing in numbers by the day, largely because of climate change and the attitudinal problems as well. So we're just hoping that the National Surveillance Team, the MMDC, and the Ghana Health Service itself will be able to contain. Otherwise, as you have known, that is gone already to the central region. Many other communities would contract it as well because they are lying around the border.
Ryan, many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Yvonne Nikwe. She has been bringing us more details on the outbreak of the dengue fever, also increasing cases in the central and eastern regions. Now, meanwhile, the outbreak of the disease and the increasing presence of the Aedes mosquitoes is posing a severe threat to farmers in the 5 agriculture districts, with the dengue fever cases potentially leading to food security crisis in the long term. Some farmers have been speaking.
Mosquitoes bite us when we go to the farm, hence we cannot go to the farm. Our wives and children are also sick.
ɛwo ha yɛ papa ɛnya de keto yɛntimi mafuom ɛnkyɛ.
Mosquitoes are disturbing us. We cannot even come to our farms, and when we do, we have to dress like this. Sometimes we cannot even work for 30 minutes. They are all over our farms.
Well, you heard the farmers expressing their concerns about this outbreak. Now, we have joining us live on phone lines General Secretary of the Agriculture Workers Union, Edward Kariwe. Now, good afternoon, sir. Now, what does the union know so far about the situation with the insects invasion on some farms in the eastern region?
Well, good afternoon to you and to our listeners. I think the issue even goes beyond the eastern region, but that is how the phenomena was spread, and it is mainly, prevalent within the Galamsey areas. So it is still growing, and if we are not able to deal with it decisively, then we should expect it to spread to many more places and many more regions in the coming days.
Right now, how are your farmers coping, and what does GAWU plan to do to assist them in the situation with other stakeholders?
Well, farmers are just left to their own fate, because we cannot drive away those flies. You can't drive them away. You can also be indoors, but immediately you then get out of your rooms, then they attack you. So it is going to affect their output. We cannot also advise them to stay indoors, So it requires a national action on it. What the Minister of Health, the Minister of Agriculture will come out with a plan to deal with that issue. We think that must be done immediately and urgently. So that is what we can do, because it will become a disaster. It will become an epidemic if we don't address it immediately. That is what we can advise government to do that now, to save the situation, because already agriculture is suffering from the normal production because of galamsey, because of lack of inputs and so on. So the little that farmers have put on their farms and the time that they need to also go and clean their farms, if that time is lost out, then of course we can all bear the consequences of further food insecurity situation in the country.
Right, many thanks for your time, sir. We've been speaking to Edward Kariwa. He is the General Secretary of GAWU. We're going to move on to one of our headline stories now. The family of a final year student of Ghana National College in Cape Coast are demanding justice for the loss of their son, Theophilus Ansah, who passed away after days of battling severe malaria. The family have accused the authorities of Ghana National College for negligence leading to the death of their son and want the law to deal with the school authorities. We can hear from some family members who addressed the media at Anuabo Family House.
I'm in the 6:30. Now, I'm a family, my wife, friend, there. What's it to you, school, ma? We have to collapse in book. I'm afraid a man be of an alasa. But honestly, you know that water and some on school home book. It's my friend, and I'm a catcher, and what's it to you? I didn't see for no hospital. Now, looking at them time, you to them back into addiction. So I did 2nd July. No, you know, it's your bay. Your bay, na friend or the home. Million Nakata. Now, Nancy. Now, oxygen, na drip, Muslimu. Wednesday, the school authority, Biao. Let me for a PHM and the but I'm around the school now. And I say, don't be to them. No, for a headmaster. No, headmaster no catch me. I mean, my reporting. Let me say, what do you mean? I'm not the you hear about or your border for 3 days now. Finding you so can't you look for the guy? Only make a come out China. That day, that was the 3rd of July. Verify and the young call intervention. Now we there no. Why you may be interfere maybe reaching to or there. You consider no. And the headmaster didn't step there till the boy died. Intervention away from a corner. No one was there. Or my but what the night into infection in a liver issue. And that's why I will not to dialysis machine.
Oh, we have our Central Regional Correspondent, Thomas Khan. He's joining us live with more details on this sad developing incident. Now, Thomas, good afternoon. Tell us, I can't imagine how sad they are in the family house, but has the school authority said anything, or have we heard anything from the Central Regional Education Director?
Well, so this case happened as far as 28 June, and like we heard from the audio, the father lamenting on what happened. He said that the thing happened on 28th of June, and they were expecting school authorities to have taken the boy, Theophilus Ansah, to the hospital from Friday to Monday, when finally the boy was taken to the hospital by friends after he collapsed in school. So he was taken to a room polyclinic in Cape Coast. And spent 3 days there before he was transferred to Cape Coast City Hospital, where the family are saying that not even a single teacher or anybody from the school visited the child. And that is why they are grieving, and then they are angry with the school. And like you really asked, the school authorities at the moment, they are tight-lipped about the whole incident. We tried to get some information from them. But we try to also speak to the Central Regional Directorate of the Ghana Education Service, who have been saying that they have received the news, and then at the moment they have sanctioned authorities of the school to appear before a committee for some investigation.
Okay, so let's listen to Emmanuel Asuman. He is a Central Regional Education Director.
It's true that child died, and as a director, but the parents called me, and I was there with them. The documentation, getting the death certificate, I was there from 10:20 up to almost 4 p.m. That's Saturday, that's 6 July. As a matter of fact, we've tasked the head, the house master, everybody matters, has given report. And we are also under the Director General Headquarters. So I have forwarded all the necessary document to headquarters. And again, we believe in justice. So if parents are demanding justice, I believe that is what we are all looking for.
Well, you had there the Central Regional, Education Directorate in the person of Emmanuel Asuman speaking on this particular matter. But Thomas, you're still on the line with us. Have you heard anything? I mean, what's the mood in the school currently, especially with the students who probably were his friends?
Yes, so the friends are really traumatized, and they are saying that the death of Theophilus, who they describe as a very brilliant student, who never took his studies for joke, somebody that the family was looking up to becoming a doctor for the family and for the nation to, benefit. Unfortunately, they have lost a very loved person that they were really, really looking up to become a doctor, like I rightly said. In fact, the family is really devastated, and this when you go to Anamapo right now, it's a sad mood, and we gather that on the 20th of July, Theophilus will be buried. So we'll be following up on that story to give to bring more details.
Many thanks for your time. That's Central Regional Correspondent Thomas Khan bringing us more details on this particular story. But let's take you through some data on the situation of students dying in schools in the last 5 years. My colleague Wisdom from the Media General Research Desk is joining me in studio with some more information on this. Wisdom, tell us about the data.
This issue of negligence on the part of school authorities when it comes to the senior high school is becoming very rampant. And we all recall what happened in Abri Girls it's just fresh in our memories, and we just woke up today to hear this very sad news.
Right.
You all recall in 2016 November, where Kevin Kofi Moses, a 15-year-old student at the Achimota School, he fell ill. He went to the clinic. He was given ibuprofen, and he was asked to go back. And he was concerned. He said he had malaria still. Right. So he called his parents to contact the school authorities. The school authorities were very adamant on issues regarding his health. And this ended up he died. And in 37 military hospital way back December 2016. You remember, yes. And the High Court found Achimota School guilty on this count, and they fined the school an amount of 400,000 Ghana cedis. Of course, we can't place an amount on the life of an individual. So I think we should have a collective efforts in solving this problem. And let me run you through some of the statistics. Exactly. According to the Ghana Education Service, at least 25 students have died, and in the past 5 years, due to negligence on the part of school authorities. You all recall what happened to a 70-year-old student of the Kumasi Academy, a 14-year-old of the Fatipim School who drowned, yes, in a swimming pool. And you also have a 16-year-old Pando Senior High Secondary School student who died from food poisoning. So this is becoming so serious and
quite interesting.
Yeah, I think we should have the Ghana Education Service together with the government. They should have a contingency plan to solve this canker. It
seems issues of sick bays are also a problem.
Oh, yes.
If you look into the situation, because I remember the Ebri girls case, there was a big issue of the sick bay not being resourced enough, and that's the situation in most of the schools, the secondary schools.
So if you take a critical look about how they fund their sick bays, they normally use internally generated funds, and I think the government should also give them some incentives to run these sick bays so that they can expand the operations and solve this issue. It's becoming very serious, and I don't think a country like Ghana at this 21st century should be experiencing these problems.
Okay, many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Wisdom. He's been giving us the data on the research in various secondary schools over the years in terms of deaths. Now, let's do one very important story. The Supreme Court has, in a unanimous decision, opted to reserve its ruling in 2 cases seeking that it restrains Parliament from transmitting the anti-LGBT bill to the presidency for possible assent. The court explained that the interests of justice will be better served if it fully hears and determines the substantive case. Now, in the first case, titled Dr. Amanda Odoi versus the Speaker and Attorney General, lawyer for the applicant, Ernest Ako, argued that both the Speaker and the clerk to Parliament should be restrained by the Apex Court until after the determination of the substantive matter. Now, in the case of broadcaster and lawyer Richard Delasky, his counsel, Pakwesi Abedu, pointed to the absence of fiscal impact analysis, which formed the basis for the passage of the bill.
By law, when an application is before court and it has not been determined, although it has not expressly been stated granted or not granted, but once it is pending, we don't do anything to prejudice the outcome of the application. So we say that invariably, indirectly, it is still restraining any party from doing anything contrary to the demands of the application. So far as this matter is pending, otherwise it will amount to contempt of court, to the best of our understanding. When the court speaks about an early trial, in effect what it means is that it will speed up the process towards the determination of the matter, so that this whole issue of injunction before final determination will no longer take a center stage.
With the legal vacation inside, how soon do you expect this thing to happen?
Oh, you heard lawyer Sky there. Now, the plaintiffs are asking the Supreme Court to declare the bill null and void. They also argue that the passage of the bill violates provisions of the 1992 Constitution, particularly Article 33(5), as well as Articles 12(1) and 2, 15(1), 17(1) and 2, 18(2) and 21(1). A, B, D, and E. My colleague Lord Edwasari is there for us and joins us with more on this. Lord, good afternoon. The court gave some details on why it is opting not to give a ruling at this stage. Tell us more. Right, it seems we might have lost Lord on this, but of course we're working the lines to reach him on this particular issue. But still on the matters of the House, and the minority in Parliament says they will on July 30 protest again to ensure the resignation of the Governor of the Bank of Ghana and his deputies and the board. Now, Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Ayarika, says the management of the central bank should be held accountable for what he described as the mismanagement of the bank.
We are reliably informed that this head office building is being constructed at a price of about $250 million. The last time we cited procurement documents, the price had moved to about $222 million. We hear that a piece of land that used to host a clinic of the bank has been reassigned for the construction of the residence of the governor. And we asked him for the price of the duty post of the governor. And he just refused to provide the cost and referred us to go to Public Procurement Authority. Given how they have run down the central bank, given how they have failed in terms of monetary policy, given how they have failed in terms of holding inflation, given how their failure in monetary policy, which has led to high interest rates, making it impossible for businesses to borrow and making it impossible for businesses to expand, we have taken a stand that the central bank management must be held accountable. We are marching back to the central bank to demand the resignation of the governor and his deputies and the board of the bank.
You heard there Mahama Yariga, a Member of Parliament for Boku Central, talking about the central bank and issues of its management. But let's head back to the court. Lord Edu Asari is joining us once more on this. The court gave some details on why it's opting not to give a ruling at this stage. Lord, tell us more.
There are two things, right? The court indicated that it does not have the full facts of the case that it should have, as well as the processes that should be followed by the parties involved. And so they need to hear all the, to be able to decide on the case substantively. And it's also indicated that because of this, it would have to get an expedited hearing to help the case be concluded early. Once it's been expedited, the lawyers will be able to start their processes to hear all the essential.
So what happens at this stage? Any clarity on whether the bill can be transmitted?
Well, so at this stage, the bill cannot be transmitted because listening to the Attorney General, he indicated that the rule of law needs to take place or be adhered to. And in this case, once there's been an injunction application, it has to be pending until it is determined. And then, again, the lawyer for Richard the last guy, Pakita Bedi, indicated that if it is forwarded for assenting, it will be in contempt of the court. And so at this stage, they will have to hold on to it. And I need to add to it that, Judith, the court will go on break, a legal break in 2 weeks' time, and they will resume it in October. What this means is that when they come, there will be an application for the case to be consolidated. Lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament had indicated that they wanted to file an application for the cases to be consolidated because they are all seeking the same thing. Now, this will be decided by the court when it is heard again. And so, as it stands, the case has been adjourned indefinitely until the legal break resumes.
Right, many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Lord Edu Asari, a court correspondent, bringing us details on that anti-LGBT kill bill in courts currently. But let's do some politics now. The 2024 presidential candidates for the ruling New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has appealed to Ghanaians to choose between a president who can do 8 years and one that can only do 4 years. Now, according to him, his main contender, former President John Dramani Mahama, can only do 4 years if elected, when he said which he said will not be enough to make any meaningful difference in the country's developmental drive. He was addressing the chiefs and people of the Pembe traditional area in the eastern Gonja municipality on day one of his tour of the Savannah region. My colleague Christopher Mwako was with the MPP's presidential candidate and joins us with more on this, his tour on the region basically. Chris, tell us about Dr. Bawumia's tour of the region. Where was he, or where has he been already, and what has he been telling the people in these areas?
Okay, so yesterday the NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia began his tour of the Savannah region from the Yapi Kusogo constituency, where he met with the chiefs and people of the Bupe traditional area. From there, he moved to the Salaga North constituency, where he interacted with some chiefs within the constituency, and ended his tour in the Salaga South constituency, where he held Grand Deba with the people of the area. While there, he told the people that he has to do ACS if Ghanaians give him the mandate, but former President Mahama of the NDC can only do 4 years. And for that matter, no government can develop the country within 4 years. So he thinks that he's the best option for the country and that he should be given the opportunity. Let's take a listen to what he's been saying.
It's a passionate call for you to make sure whatever you are doing to the people are you don't have any. Everything you are doing, take it to the very peaceful manner and everybody.
This election is a very important one. We are two main contestants, myself and my main opponent. My main opponent has already been president before. He has been there before. I have not yet been president. But if he comes back, he can only be president for 4 years. By the grace of God, if I come, I can be president for 8 years. But what we know is that the presidency is coming to the north. One way or the other, a northerner is going to be president. But when it leaves the north, we don't know when it will come back. It will take a long time to go through other regions before it comes back to the north. So if it is coming to the north, do we want it for 8 years or for 4 years? I believe that if we get it for 8 years, and with the support of people like Abujinapo, Clifford Brima, Uncle Sale, Dr. Chansu, all your children who will come and support me in my government, Savannah will continue to grow and develop.
Well, the Pembe traditional area paramount chief has also been speaking. We know that in 2016 he made some predictions. Let's hear if he did that this time.
Your Excellency, as we are approaching the election, I want to look, it's a passionate call for you to make sure whatever you are doing to the people are you don't have any. Everything you are doing, take it to the very peaceful manner and everybody will feel like you are doing. So there will be peace and tranquility during and after the election. Let us remember that our actions and words during this election period will shape the future of our beloved country. Let us seek for unity, understanding, and commitment to the biggest good of Ghana together. We can ensure a peaceful and prosperous nation for all.
Right, now let's do some more stories. And one person is feared dead with others injured following a communal clash between residents of Koro and Bogno, all in the Lambusi district of the Upper West region. The incident, which is reported to have occurred on Sunday, July 14, 2024, escalated to other communities. Now, joining us on this story is the MP for the area, that's MP for Lambusi, Bright, Honorable Bright Bachi Baligi. He is joining us with more on this. Good afternoon, sir. Now, we have lost a life with fears of escalation and retaliation. How did we get here?
Good afternoon to you, Triathan, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, this has been a difficult situation for me since last year, August, because the whole issue started in August between two individuals that escalated to the communities, and now it's taking a certain dimension that is worrisome. I had calls from the constituency on Sunday a bit early in the morning before I could go for church that an individual had gone into the farm to do some cultivation and was attacked, and that led to his death. Well, this issue came up, and I've done my best. I've shown commitment. I've gone to engage the communities, all the stakeholders, the chiefs, the opinion leaders, the assembly members, and we have come a long way. That I was just anticipating to hold the last meeting, and we would have found a lasting solution to it. What happened is quite unfortunate. I wish to use the medium to express my regrets and condolences to the bereaved family, and to call on the constituents to remain calm. Leadership is not sleeping. Leadership is up, and we are working hard to make sure that whatever the disagreements have been, we are one and the same people. We've intermarried, we've lived together, we've done everything together. If one doesn't sleep, the other is equally awake. So I seek your platform to appeal to my people to remain calm, the trust and confidence that they have reposed in me and the Honorable DC. They should continue to rely on us, and we are working to make sure that whoever the culprit is, whoever committed that heinous crime is arrested, and the law enforcement agencies do their work in restoring peace to the area.
Well, many thanks for your time, sir. That's the MP for Lambusi, Bright Bachi Baligi. And that brings us to the end of the Midday News right here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Judith Brown. A pleasure coming to you this afternoon. Stay tuned. Business News is next.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM927. Facebook at 3FM927. And also on 3news.com.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, National Petroleum Authority urges oil marketers to discontinue sale of liquefied petroleum gas at the pumps, urging strict adherence to cylinder recirculation model. We'll hear from Chief Executive Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid.
It is our hope that the CRM policy would create more jobs within the value chain than a filling station concept would do.
Also, Bank of Ghana calls for innovative policies to unlock SME growth potential.
The introduction of the Innovative Regulatory Sandbox has helped to implement policy initiatives that enhance digitalized financial services and fosters economic inclusion for Ghanaian SMEs.
Plus, Ghana Revenue Authority surpasses mid-year target by 138.6 million cedis, achieves 21.2% increase in collections.
The GRA exceeded mid-year budget by 0.2%. This achievement represents a nominal growth of 37.6% 0% over the same period last year.
Oh, my name is Manu Afful. We'll bring you details of these stories and more shortly. Tuesday. Thank you for your time. Let's begin with the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, which has called on oil marketers to discontinue the sale of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, at pumps and to strictly adhere to the cylinder recirculation model. Chief Executive of NPA, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, emphasized the importance of this shift to enhance safety and efficiency in LPG distribution. Speaking at this year's Ghana International Petroleum Conference organized in Accra, he highlighted the relevance of the cylinder recirculation model to creating jobs.
It is important that we recognize that events will happen, that change will happen, that context will change, that time will change. I think that the best thing for us to do as humans is to adjust to the changing tides and times. And so I would urge you to reassess your opposition to the CRM policy, because all across the world, very few countries still adopt a filling station concept as far as LPG distribution is concerned. All across the entire West Africa region, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Togo, everywhere else, people are running the CRM model. I don't think that Ghana can afford to continue to lag behind. I think that it is important that we catch up with modern trends and to adopt to the flow. It is our hope that the CRM policy would create more jobs within the value chain than a filling station concept would do.
Meanwhile, Minister of State at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Krapa, has expressed government's commitment to making Ghana a petroleum hub in sub-region. Speaking on behalf of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, he said significant progress has been made with Phase 1 of the $12 billion project at Jomoro in the Western region.
The theme for the second edition of GIPCON in 2018 was realizing the vision of a petroleum hub, and you will by now have learned that the board of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation has been sworn in a $12 billion US agreement with TCP UIC Consortium has been signed for the development of the first phase of the Petroleum Hub project at Jomoro in the Western region. This phase includes constructing a 300,000 barrels per day capacity refinery, a petrochemical plant, storage tanks, jetties and port infrastructure, ancillary infrastructure, and social amenities.
You heard the voice of Minister of State at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Krapa. There, let's now shift your attention to the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, who has emphasized the importance of innovative policy mechanisms in unlocking the economic potential of small and medium-sized enterprises at the 2024 SME Growth and Opportunity Summit in Accra.
The Bank of Ghana has commissioned a study in collaboration with the Development Bank of Ghana and the University of Ghana Business School to better understand the constraints of SMEs to formulate targeted policies to ensure growth. The objective of the study is, among others, to ascertain the economy's SME credit demand needs, the supply of liquidity by these SMEs, and how fintechs could be leveraged to scale up lending by the SMEs. The Bank of Ghana continues to leverage its mandate to improve the payments ecosystem with modern policy tools, such as the regulatory sandbox. The introduction of the innovative regulatory sandbox has helped to implement policy initiatives that enhance digitalized financial services and fosters economic inclusion for Ghanaian SMEs in collaboration with key stakeholders. One such initiative is the Ghana Integrated Financial Ecosystem, launched in June 2022 under the broader Business Samboda initiative in partnership with the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Development Bank Ghana.
Well, that was the voice of Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison. Now, away from that, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is facing heat after a damning report by Auditor General Johnson Ekuamoa Asiedu revealed widespread violations of Public Procurement Act in its meter procurement processes. The report alleges that ECG spent over $145 million on meters and accessories, but failed to follow proper legal procurement procedures as mandated by the Act. The questionable spending occurred between 2016 and 2021, according to audits conducted at ECG's headquarters and regional offices. Beyond procurement breaches, the report identified additional shortcomings. ECG reportedly failed to recover over 53.9 million cedis identified through internal monitoring as lost revenue due to electricity theft. Furthermore, the Auditor General criticized ECG for not taking legal action against those involved in the theft, potentially allowing the practice to continue. In a letter to the Speaker of Parliament, Auditor General Johnson Ekuamoa Asiedu urged ECG to strictly adhere to the Public Procurement Act in all future dealings. The company is called upon to take immediate corrective actions to address these shortcomings and strengthen accountability within the organization. He emphasized the importance of following legal guidelines to prevent financial mismanagement and protect public funds. These findings raise serious concerns about governance and oversight at ECG. The report highlights potential lapses in accountability and calls for immediate action to address the issues. That was a news desk report. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, exceeded its 2024 mid-year target by 138.6 million cedis. This represents a 0.2 percentage points increase. The GRA collected 68.49 billion cedis at the end of June 2024. The authority outperformed its target by 21.2%. Julie Isiam is the Commissioner General of GRA.
The GRA exceeded mid-year budget by 0.2%. This achievement represents a nominal growth of 37.60% over the same period last year. Specifically, for the month of June, the devoted staff of the Ghana Revenue Authority outperformed and exceeded the revenue target by an exceptional 21.2%. A significant increase in a single month. Ladies and gentlemen, all of this was achieved against the headwinds of a very difficult first quarter. And this is a testament to the commitment, resilience, and overall dedication of our staff. To break down the details of the performance to date, the month of January, we fell below target by 12.3%. February showed a shortfall of 6.3%. March suffered a similar trend of an increased negative deviation of 12.7%. We started to rebound from April and exceeded target by 1.9% that month, then exceeded again in May by 1.4%. As we can see, the outstanding performance in June supported the turnaround to help with a positive half-year performance of the 0.2% of the total half-year budget.
Well, that was Julie Isiam, Commissioner General of the GRA, bringing us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on www.3news.com. My name is Manu Afful. Do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.